Welcome to my review of A Good Day to Die Hard. Or as I like to call this review, A Good Day to Cry Hard. So before I get into my notes here, I just want to say that I really wanted to like this movie. I think the posters looked really cool. The plot sounded interesting. We finally get to see Jack. Even though we did see him in Die Hard, the first one. I guess he was just a baby or something, but... yeah, it seemed like it was going to be a good time. Hour 37 minutes. I was like, you know what? Probably lots of action. And I'm sorry to say that I did not like this movie at all. So I wrote down all my notes here so I can get through this review without any pause breaks, without any, what else? Because you're listening to this right now, and you probably don't want to be bored, and I don't want to bore you. So, yeah, I have quite a few notes here. They're not in any order. I just wrote down everything, and I surprised myself because I think I wrote down everything that was wrong with this movie and everything that I liked, everything that I was thinking while watching it. Anyways, A Good Day to Cry Hard. So again, with good posters, you got John and his son Jack standing there. Their faces are all bloody, and they just look badass. And that too sold the movie for me. Now, the cinematography was terrible, absolutely terrible. Now, I don't mind some shaky cam shots, zooming in and out, but you don't have to use those in every scene throughout the whole movie. Now, there's a movie called 12 Rounds with John Cena, the pro wrestler, and I stopped watching that movie after 18 minutes because the shots were so terrible. I mean, there's no reason for you to move the camera all around. Like, when somebody's talking, you don't need to shake the camera and then pan down, to what they're wearing and go all over. It's just ridiculous. I literally could not watch the rest of the movie. That's how bad it was. And this movie reminded me of that. Now, this wasn't as bad. They were better with the zooms and that, but... I like the dark tone of the film. I like the colors. Again, with the cinematography, I think that, the tone was right, but the way the shots were handled just wasn't any good. There is a very boring, very long car chase. I think that vehicle that the villains had, that tank type of vehicle, that was badass. But this chase just went on, and there was nothing exciting in it. I mean, I watched some reviews, and they said it was about 15 minutes, and it felt like it was about, 10 to 15 minutes long. And it's just such a boring car chase. I mean, gosh, they just kept shooting footage of them driving. And, the whole father-son back and forth thing was ridiculous. It just didn't work. Carrot-eating villain. I thought that scene was... that was just terrible, too. Not a very good introduction for McClane to the villain. I think the carrot was used to, kind of enhance the villain's performance, make him look more interesting. But I couldn't help but think of a movie called Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen. And he's, I like carrots. I like eating carrots. And it just didn't work this time out because we didn't get a good introduction from our villain. The end music was very good. I didn't like the scene, when they got to the airport and they met with Lucy. The shots, again, were really weird. They're just panning all over the place. And we didn't hear any of the dialogue, which I thought was interesting. But the music was really good. That's maybe the only good thing about this movie. Jai Courtney, he actually did a good job. I think he's a good, strong actor. Definitely see him doing some more action movies. And I'd like to see him work with McClane again, in the next one. With Willis, I mean. Kind of like with Batman and Robin, how Chris O'Donnell is really... At least he was trying. He kind of held the movie together. That's how I felt with this one. I don't think I've seen him in anything else before, but he's a damn good actor. Where is John McClane? He wasn't in this movie. This is not a Die Hard movie. Bruce Willis plays Bruce Willis in this movie. I mean, the old McClane, I kept thinking back to the old movies, and he was worried. He was a wreck sometimes, drinking, smoking, and that. Did he smoke? I can't remember if he smoked. I'm actually going to watch the old Die Hards again. I don't think he smoked in Live Free. I know that. But yeah, there's no McClane in this movie. He just seems so confident throughout it and being such a prick. And that just didn't... There was no heart to this movie. That's one of the main problems. You just don't care. And, in Live Free or Die Hard, we got McClane. He's fighting this internet-based terrorist organization, and he has no idea what's going on. He needs help from, Justin Long and the Warlock. And in this one, I don't mind, confidence or anything. Yeah, he's been around for a long time doing this stuff. But it's not McClane. McClane needs to be running around, just interrogating people, beating the crap out of them. But in this one, he's just got so many one-liners. And he's just so comfortable. And that's just not John McClane. Kill all of the bad guys. They don't make any arrests. And this reminded me of Quantum of Solace. And for me, A Good Day to Die Hard is the Quantum of Solace of the Die Hard franchise. You've got your main guys going around just killing everybody. And spoiler alert, in the end, everybody's dead. They kill all of them. They all get blown up. I mean, again, that's not McClane. What kind of cop work is that? Yeah, of course, Russia's out of his jurisdiction, but, he couldn't bring anyone back to the CIA. It just reminded me of Solace when Bond went around. And if I remember correctly, he killed, most, if not all of the people who he's supposed to be interrogating. Just goes from place to place. And yeah, it's self-defense, but you don't have to kill them. The action sequences also reminded me of Quantum of Solace. There were a lot of them, but they were shot very poorly. And good gosh, you're not on vacation, John McClane. I counted about 4 times throughout the movie when he said, "I'm on vacation!" That line just doesn't work. First of all, he's not on vacation. He went there to save his son. How is that a vacation? I swear, that line reminded me of Clerks. In Dante's, "I'm not even supposed to be here today." I just kept waiting for Randall to come on camera and be like, "Would you shut the fuck up?" So bad, it's almost funny. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. He doesn't say it to anyone. He says it to the camera, to us, the audience. I thought that was such a waste. He's sitting in that truck, and he says something like, "The things we do for our kids, yippee-ki-yay." And I'm pretty sure he said fucker. I don't remember hearing Russia. But still, that was just a waste. I mean, in Live Free, at least they did it kind of creatively. They wanted to keep it PG-13, so they're like, right before he says the F-bomb, just have somebody get shot. And I was like, you know what? At least he said the line to someone. There's no good setup, no good start to this movie. I thought the scene with Jack in Russia getting arrested was interesting, but we need a stronger intro, especially from McClane. I mean, we just see him doing some, some shooting and that. And it was just, that wasn't much of an introduction. I wanted, to see him going around New York and maybe he's in a car chase or something or chasing some bad guy down. Instead, he's at the police shooting range indoors. And he just seems so bored. And again, there's no heart to this movie. And I think that's somewhat because of there not being, a strong intro. You just don't know who to follow, who to believe, who to root for. I mean, some people in this movie just seem so bored. Like nobody knows what's going on. Where is Holly? We're now 5 movies in. She was in Die Hard and Die Hard 2. I mean, even in Die Hard 2, she was in the sky the whole time. You know, can't they, like, cut to her back at home being like, hey, how's Jack doing? You know? I mean, obviously they're still not together, but it would have been nice to see her. Now, at the airport scene at the end, I thought that that was going to be Holly there, but it turned out to be Lucy. I thought that'd be such a great moment to bring back Holly. Have them all hug, because that's the family. How did John get out of his wrist ties? So again, that's during the carrot eating scene. And I know that Jack had a knife, and he cut his ties. But, I mean, the action happened so fast, I don't remember how did John get out of his. Unless they just didn't want to show the scene where he's cutting his too. I don't know if Jack threw the knife to him, which would be a pretty stupid move. But I'm really curious. Unless he just broke loose. He's just like, hey, you know what? This ain't gonna stop me. No file. All that build-up. And no file. Now, I have no problem with plot twists. This movie had a lot of good twists and turns, but they just built it up wrong. You know, they should have shown us in the beginning what was really going on, and then have our heroes go after something that doesn't exist, but we know what's going on. The main villain, I can't remember his name, the carrot-eating guy, the dancer. You know what I don't like about you Americans? You're all cowboys. Now I'm going to eat my carrots. He was more of a henchman. And the guy who plays him, he's a really good actor. I mean, I think this is the only thing I've seen him in, but he did a good job. It's just that this movie was handled so poorly. And I don't think he was given a chance to shine. Chernobyl. So you remember all the baddies were wearing their full body suits and their gas masks. John and Jack just walk in there. And they just got their regular clothes on. No worries at all. I like the end theme. Again, it's called It's Hard to Kill a McClane. The slow-mo chopper shot was good. I remember McClane giving them the finger, you know, and he was jumping down in slow-mo. That was a really cool shot. And Cole Hauser, one of my many favorite actors. He's been in, you know, Good Will Hunting, Too Fast, Too Furious. He starred in Paparazzi. And I think his character was kind of wasted in this one. And he got wasted. That was definitely a surprise, but I think they could have used him more. He's a very strong actor. And he's going to be in Olympus Has Fallen. That one's coming up. That one looks really good. Alright, page 2 and final page. The father-son bonding. There was one moment, you know, when they open up the car trunk and they're getting their weapons. McClane, you know, just says, you know, I love you, boy. And they have this moment between them. That was actually pretty good. I think that works, and I don't know, it doesn't fit in with the rest of the movie, but that scene alone and the end theme kind of make the movie for me. In the beginning, Jack, he was just such a prick to his father, calling him John, blaming him for everything, and his attitude was just too much. I mean, obviously, they haven't talked in years, maybe even a couple decades, but I don't know, his anger just seemed too much. He was just too enraged. No character development. Obviously, we already know John McClane. We don't need to be reintroduced or anything. But with the villains, with Jack, I just felt that we needed Maybe some flashback scenes with Jack. You know, maybe after Die Hard 2 or something, when him and John are talking, maybe the whole family's together. Just something. They didn't have to do that with Lucy because it worked in Live Free or Die Hard. You know, he's dropping her off at her college dorm or whatever. But in this one, I just felt that the movie starts off right away with the action, and we don't even get a chance to get to know these characters. You know, the villains get killed off, and it's like no big deal. And Jack, you know, like I said, Jai Courtney's a great actor, but it's like when he's getting, you know, beaten up by the carrot-eating guy, I was like, okay. You're not like, oh no, that's John McClane's son. The truck dangling from the chopper, that was pretty cool. That was a good idea. But I think that they could have used the truck more in that scene. You know, that's like putting a tank and have that hanging from the chopper and then have it fall. It's destroyed and that's it. It's like, really? I think you could have done more with that. I mean, this is John McClane. You know, remember in Live Free, he drove that truck on the freeway, you know, on the on-ramp or whatever, and then next thing you know, he's on a plane. Die Hard with a Vengeance, driving that construction truck. It's just that there's so many wasted opportunities in this movie. The McClanes, they're not working with any law enforcement, any cops. You know, we see some shots of the CIA at the beginning when they're interacting with Jack and when they call off the operation or the rescue. It's like, where were they in the end? You know, the movie just wraps up so quickly. They all just meet at the airport and that's it. It's like, you killed all the bad guys. I mean, I'm sure the cops are investigating what happened. And maybe Jack wants to be like, oh, hey, Dad, we should probably go to the CIA. Let them know what's going on. Just something. Even if it's like, you know, a minute-long clip. I mean, you can get a lot done in a minute. No pun. But yeah, the way the movie ended, it wasn't fulfilling. You know, it's like, oh, we just saved the world. Blow up a couple places, kill a bunch of people. Come on, have a few laughs. It'll be fun. The bad guy, our dancer, his last lines were delivered really weak. Gosh, that was such a weird way to end that villain. You know, right before he gets shot. His lines were just, he said something like, now give me the file. Give me file now. And then, the cowboy dancing scene. You know, again, when John and Jack, you know, their wrists are tied and that, they get introduced to the villains. The whole dancing thing it just didn't fit. Same with the carrot eating. I don't know if it was the wrong time in the film. Maybe it would have been stronger at the beginning. But, yeah, this movie is just a mess. The Hans Gruber type shot at the end, when Jack throws one of the villains off the roof. The guy, you know, who supposedly had the file that doesn't exist. You know, when he throws him, we go to this shot, and you see him falling, and he's doing the, you know, big eyes opening, and the slow-mo, and it reminded me of the Hans Gruber death. I was like, really? I mean, is this guy Hans Gruber's cousin or something? That just didn't fit. It didn't work. They could come up with something more original than that. This movie was very rushed. This movie went by so fast. There's so much action in it, and there's so little development. I mean, it's like they told him, well, here's your runtime, and you have 3 days to edit it. This makes Die Hard 4 look like a damn masterpiece. Like I said earlier, I'm probably going to be watching the Die Hards, the first 4, starting today. I actually have, like, newfound respect even more for Live Free or Die Hard. Because Len Wiseman, the director, he paid close attention to, you know, character development. His shots were handled very well. And again, with the shaky cam, I don't have a problem with that. You know, some directors, they find things and they're like, oh, I should use this, try that. But don't do it in every scene. It's not necessary. You know? Like if I'm watching a car chase in real life, my head isn't going up and down, side to side, panning all over the place and shaking. And it just gives you a headache. I think the plot idea was very good. The summary, is like John McClane travels to Russia to help his estranged son Jack. And I like that. Good cast, but again, poor execution. And after the outside attack, they climb down the ladder to go around a corner, and that's it. They're safe. No ground units. So when they were ambushed, again, when Cole Hauser's character was killed. So let me backtrack a bit, because you're probably like, what scene is he talking about? So when they meet in the safe house, they're ambushed, and then they all climb down the ladder, and it's like, that's it? They didn't have any ground units? Like, the bad guys are like, okay, everybody go to roof. Okay, we ambush. And they go down the ladder and like, we lost them. They just go around a corner. That's interesting. Alright, I'm almost done here. Just got a few more to go through. The cityscape shots... Again with the zoom, you don't need to do that. Let us zoom with our minds. Just show us some great cityscape shots. And again, those are the wide shots, the helicopter shots of cities. And there's just so many wasted opportunities in this movie for those shots. Really disappointing. They start out with a wide shot, and then they go down and they're zooming, panning over. And it's just so sloppy. At the end, they had this really buff guy, and for some reason he's wearing no shirt. This is at the chemical plant or whatever in Chernobyl. And he doesn't even fight him. I thought this was going to be the setup for a big fight scene. Instead, he's just shooting, and I think he got blown up, but... I thought of Roadhouse. It's like, what if Dalton just whips out a gun? Like, they get everything set up for this big fight. He's like, you're such an asshole. And then he just shoots him, and it's like, why is your shirt off? Like, why are you working out? You're just going to shoot people. And, you know what? I think that is about it. Let me just go over my notes here again. Oh, if you thought Whole 10 Yards is bad... Yeah. It's a sequel to The Whole 9 Yards with Matthew Perry, Bruce Willis. And, this is one sequel that just didn't need to happen. This is The Whole 10 Yards of the Die Hard franchise. Alright. Well, it looks like... one more thing. Patrick Stewart. I remember seeing him in the cast list on IMDb. He was playing the Russian general. I don't know what happened with that. Maybe that was just a rumor or something. But I was disappointed he wasn't in the movie. But... okay. Just double checking my notes again. And it looks like that is it. So thank you very much for listening to my review. I hope you enjoyed the photos going along with this video. And I do not recommend seeing this movie in theaters. I found out the IMAX tickets were like $13.75 or something. I watched this yesterday, noon 35 showing, and I paid about $8.75 for my ticket. And damn it, I want my money back. This movie is just... I wouldn't even call it a Die Hard movie. Kind of like Never Say Never Again. The Bond movie that's not called, a Bond movie. The one with Sean Connery was about, 30 years ago. The studio's like, well, that's not really our movie. This one is just terrible. I really, really wanted to like it. And, funny story. So, I get to the movie theater, and, I get out of my car, and there are these strong, strong gusts of wind. just blown me away from the theater. That was a warning sign. I mean, when nature gets involved, you know to get out. But it's Die Hard, you know. I wanted to give it a chance, even though I'd heard nothing but bad reviews about it. It's John McClane, you know, Bruce Willis. And, yeah, I think it had some good ideas, but it never came together. And I think that this should not be the last Die Hard movie. I think if they want to end John McClane's franchise, you better go out with a bang. So I definitely want to see John and Jack working together in the next one. I'd like to see Holly, you know, even a shot of her at the beginning, just calling them or something. But maybe have Len Wiseman come back and direct. Or even John McTiernan, whoever directed the first one. But yeah, I think a different director could have done a much better job with this movie. I think it could have been, you know, a good 2 hours solid with some stronger character development. I don't know why they went for this hour 37-minute runtime. But yeah, it just reminded me of Quantum of Solace, you know. Just chop it down, put as much action in it as you can. And in the end, just, you know, disappoint. But, yeah, I hope the next Die Hard is much better. I have faith in Bruce Willis. You know, I really do. I just think that the director should have been, like, you know, more focused on showing us McClane, showing us a struggle. This movie is just loud and annoying at times. A lot of good twists and turns, but the movie is just so sloppy. It's like a big puzzle, you know. You got all the pieces of the puzzle, and you're trying to put them together. Anyways, that is going to do it. Thank you again for listening to my review of A Good Day to Die Hard, in theaters now. Don't see it in theaters. Rent it, don't buy it. Alright, I will talk to you later, and be sure to subscribe for new videos right here on Ron Gemmin TV.